Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now here's Jay.
Good afternoon, and welcome back to the Educated Retirement Radio here on KMET 1490, where we contemplate retirement and how to best prepare for retirement and how to best stay successfully retired. So please remember, look me up, www.drheckham.com. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's okay. drheckham.com. My engineer is drunk. No, she's there you go. All right. Just in case. There's no dots, no nothing except after the W's and before the com. So I am the doctor, as you know. And remember, take a look and be sure to jump over to the YouTube channel link about halfway down the first page. I have a lot of changes and pictures at the top. So also, take a look at everything. There's a lot on YouTube, all of the shows, as soon as I get to them and get them put up there. And separate snippets, like just my section or just a few seconds here or there if I think it's either entertaining or important. And there are a lot of really important and good articles in the blog. Of course, not all written by me, but by a lot of people. So remember, 866-955-2233. That's 866-955-2233. Call me anytime you like, because knowledge is power. And we'll just have a nice conversation about education. So, what is my day job? Yes, luckily I have one. Loan officer at the Loan Source, and my NMLS number, which is my license for doing loans, it's a nationwide number, but I pretty much right here in California. 384-565, Department of Real Estate. I don't sell real estate, but I think it's important to be on top of it. But my Department of Real Estate number is 792-630. And if you're interested in selling any real estate or buying any real estate, I can help you out there. I do not do it myself, but I know a lot of people and can introduce you to a lot of people that can bring you a lot of information and give you some great choices. So we're going to have a great guest today, Ray Ramirez. And as you know, probably if you've listened to the show before, I like to keep old people busy because I think it's very healthy. We've had home care people talk about not only the care they give, but they can also, and they do also talk about franchising opportunities. Ray is a little of both, and he can get you somewhere where you can make a lot of money, and you can also help a lot of people. So I'm going to bring up something I brought up a couple of weeks ago from Shannon Hicks, and just an example of fear and how fear is involved in selling of all kinds. So what would happen if a young income earner worries that's not me because I ain't young, but a young income earner worries his family would suffer financially should he die prematurely? That's pretty easy. They go out and buy life insurance. And ethically, we never want to sell only from a position of fear. However, we should ask ourselves the uncomfortable what-if questions to uncover hidden fears. Those things you don't volunteer to discuss yet eat away at your peace of mind. After all, it is better, I should say, to shy away from sensitive topics for our own comfort or check to see how we could benefit and by being more proactive to leverage our home and its value. Let me give you a fear that a lot of people in this country are having right now. And unfortunately, there's more than one. But the U.S. debt just added $2 trillion to the federal ledger, making the federal debt exceed our annual gross domestic product. Now, you know, our domestic product has definitely come down because of things that are happening, the COVID, etc., and the economy that's attached to it. And of course, we had that tax reduction, which really adds to our debt, but we're not going to get into that right now. So it's higher than it's ever been since World War II. And higher taxes are likely to follow. So the fear about this situation is inflation is likely to increase. I don't think it's going to increase tomorrow, but it's going to increase substantially in the wake of the COVID-19 pandemic, making nearly everything more expensive. What's the best action? Get a reverse mortgage, which eliminates mortgage payments or at least makes them optional and will leave you probably with an available line of credit should you need an increase down the road. So what is today? Today is International Day of Older Persons. Actually, it was yesterday, but you know, we got a lot of yesterday on today. And it was one of my favorite songs says, there is no yes in yesterday. However, my team here got the days mixed up a little bit, but at least she went backwards instead of forwards, so I guess I'm a day younger. So I like older persons rather than the elderly, but so be it. It was established by the United Nations. It was a day to appreciate the contributions that oldies like me and some of you make to society. It's also National Field Scallops Day. Now, if my department here knew what they were doing, they would have a plate of scallops right in front of me right now because I love scallops. And tell me if you disagree, but I think the best scallops I remember having is maybe in Morro Bay at a kind of a takeout and patio place called Giovanni's. And we took them, they cooked it, and we took them back to our room at Gray's Inn and ate them over the bay, and they were great. Still, love scallops. Okay, so I'm going to skip some of this advertising stuff because we might be running short of time, and we're not going to let that happen. So I can always go back to that. Let me just throw in a short one here. Those people who have a mortgage are asking for forbearance these days. And those with a HELOC are seeing those HELOCs frozen and new ones are not even available in many cases. The HECM, home equity conversion mortgage, and other reverse products are available with or without a line of credit, and those lines of credit can never be canceled or frozen. And as you probably already know, if you've listened to the show before, they also grow in size. I have shrunk in size about 60 pounds, but the reverse mortgage line of credit will grow. Forbearance, that's a non-issue, because you can always make payments, always not. Interest only, anything you want. So from now on, I'm calling it the Intelligent Retirement Forbearance Loan. So let's talk about whose birthday it is. Oh, I got to get ready for this, okay? We used to have a break right now, and I'd get ready on the break, but I guess I can't do that right now. All right, wait a minute. That's part of it. Do you have that chicken that falls? Anyway, it's Groucho Marx, who joined us in 1890 and shipped off in 1977. He was a comedian. I think we all know that. And a writer of stage, film, and television, making 13 feature films such as, part of the Marx Brothers and the host of You Bet Your Life. He was born Julius, I better take these off before Julius Henry Marx, and he was born in a room above a butcher shop. You know, that's something to be proud of. I wish I were born in a room above a butcher shop, in any case, or a restaurant even, with the smells coming up, so I would know what life was all about right away. But that building that he was born in, it was populated mostly by immigrants, mostly from Europe, in New York City, mostly artisans. So Groucho and his brothers grew up in a vaudeville atmosphere because of his Uncle Al. And most people do have an Uncle Al. So they took singing, piano, and comedy lessons as youngsters, and started actually as a singing group and traveled the vaudeville circuit. On October 5th, 1950, close to now, You Bet Your Life premiered on television as a comedy quiz show. And you know, one of his contestants was William Blatty, who won $10,000 on the show. When Groucho asked what he was going to do with the money, he answered, "I'm going to write a novel." And the result was, you probably already know, The Exorcist. And this is just a note and a autograph by Linda Blair. And so that, I don't know, I thought that was pretty fascinating. They made really two groups of movies, and I don't have all the names of all of them. Some of them were the craziest. I think probably the best, although not every scene, but the crazy ones were Duck Soup, Room Service, Monkey Business. Let me get some of these out for you. Okay. Little Monkey Business. What is this one? Oh, Animal Crackers. I did mention Animal Crackers. Okay. Then there was some change of ownership at the studio. They stopped making movies for a while, and then I think at least 3 of the Marx Brothers showed up completely nude at the office of the president of the studio. And before you know it, more movies were put out. They were a little more on the sane side, and they would include one of my favorites, Night at the Opera. Now, Night at the Opera, I think, has one of the funniest scenes ever seen in a movie. And that's when they're on the ship. And before you know it, there's 300 people in this small guest room. And then at the end of that scene, somebody opens the door and they all pile out. But anyway, we've got that going. There was Night at the Opera, there was Day at the Races, there were, a few other things like that. Now, Groucho has some sayings, some quotes, which I'd like to start incorporating into my life. But let me give you a few of the best that I thought. Those are my principles, and if you don't like them, I have others. That's okay. I never forget a face, but in your case, I'll be glad to make an exception. Now, I've heard that told to me, but that's all right too. This is one of the best ones here coming up. I must confess I was born at a very early age. And I think that's true for me too. I worked my way up from nothing to a state of extreme poverty. Okay. And another one I really like, I'm not crazy about reality, but it's still the only place to get a decent meal. Scallops, for instance. Now, who else? Oh, some of the following people actually were born yesterday, and that was a great movie too. But one of them, Walter Matthau, or whatever you want to pronounce it. He popped out in 1920 and left us in the year 2000. So, like I said, my research department got a little bit behind. Now, his mother worked in a garment sweatshop, and his father was a peddler and electrician. So he was a lover of practical jokes and began acting in shows at camp, Jewish camp, of course, and worked as a concession stand cashier in the Yiddish theater district in New York. Now, he was a stage actor for years before popping up in films such as The Odd Couple. Now, he won an Oscar for supporting role in The Fortune Cookie. So he was also in the remake of The Front Page, Hello, Dolly, Charade. And I've got collections upon collections of Henry Mancini music from that era, like Peter Gunn, Mr. Lucky Goes Latin. Amazing stuff, I think, and still think. But he was good in Charade. Now, he was also in A Face in the Crowd, and that was really a great role by Andy Griffith. And I was going to say something about the rest of his television career, but let me just tell you that Andy Griffith was amazing. Amazing actor, amazing storyteller. And I did not see that in the TV show. And I can't blame him. It was good money. It lasted a very long time. But Andy was a real standout. And that, of course, was a film by Elia Kazan. Now, one of the movies I really like Walter in is called A Gangster Story. 1960, his only attempt at directing, and it was a no-budget noir film done with 5 persons, non-union crew, at the homes of the crew members in Anaheim. Also, several of the scenes were shot downtown Anaheim. And yeah, it's available. It's worth watching. Great, but a lot of fun anyway. Walter in his own thing. Now, he and his wife co-starred, were so broke by the time the movie was done, they had to pawn their wedding gifts to pay the rent. Also, and I need to speed up here a little, don't I? Richard Harris was born in 1930 and went out in 2002. Yeah, let's show that now. And this is the album that MacArthur Park is on. And I love that music. I'm not sure what the lyrics actually mean, but if you do, call in. Let me see real quick. See inside. But a British singer and actor, he was a rugby player until he contracted tuberculosis. He was in 46 films, including Gladiator. And of course, he started off as Dumbledore in the Harry Potter first 2 films, which I think the first 3 were by far the rest that were by far the best. And then he was replaced after he passed away with a guy I really like. That would be Michael Gambon. And he was in a television series. Here's the music actually from it. And for a while it was said that it was a BBC series, and it was said for quite a while that this was the best thing on television. So I would really like to see it go out and get that. I think it was written by a guy named Potter, who also did Pennies from Heaven. He was in The Unforgiven, Samila's Sense of Snow, which I and my wife, we both really liked that movie. He was kind of a bad guy, that something came from outer space and landed in the snow in the Arctic. And he thought, well, whatever, go out and look at the movie. He was in Patriot Games and so many more. Jimmy Carter turned 96 and is still very active. And getting back to, did I miss anything? No. Getting back to today, Annie Leibovitz was born in 1949, so she's younger than, a very famous photographer. So let me get right to what this day is. This is the day that The Twilight Zone premiered. today in 1959. And there's a lot of volumes of the music. This is, LP. Ben Casey premiered in 1961, and I know I've showed you this before. I'm so proud to have it. I'm not sure if I ever listened to it, but when you're a record collector, you got to have things like this. Johnny Carson Show premiered yesterday in 1962. Brain from Planet Eros actually premiered. Night of the Living Dead in 1968 premiered, and I always thought that was maybe the best or one of the best zombie movies I'd ever seen, but I'm going to recommend you watch a not too old film from South Korea called Train to Busan. That's an amazing amount of action, and I think maybe the best zombie film I've ever seen. I Married a Monster from Outer Space, 1958. Boy, am I lucky to have that. Look at that. Oh, and I missed one, of course, but I think everybody who's alive knows Night of the Living Dead. So please don't go away, because we're going to come right back. We're going to have a special guest that's going to talk about not only keeping you busy, but about financial situations and what to do with coming in and out of this situation we have right now. So please do not go away, and help us recommend, say hello to Ray Ramirez in just a couple minutes. Thanks so much, and talk to you very soon.